Welcome to this sort of special episode of Rabbit Hole. I'm wearing this ridiculous. I'm wearing a bit different to what I usually wear, but that's because in this episode we're going to be talking about nature of change and the Polish-Soviet War. This is also a school assignment, so it's also going to be in a more interesting format. I hope you enjoy, and of course, roll that intro. Yeah, no one cares about this period. Most people just don't care. But I do. So welcome to the Polish-Soviet War, where changes for the Russians, the Polish, and even surrounding nations such as Ukraine. I know, touchy topic today. The war started because, well, both Poland and Russia wanted to spread their influence and power, as well as land, which led to the beginning of the war. This war was also crucial between the fallout relationship of Trotsky and Stalin, both being tested and, well, would definitely affect the decisions of, in my opinion, Stalin's later decisions. So, Stalin. Stalin's 5-year plan was definitely affected by the Polish-Soviet War, from the intervention from other nations, which I imagine would encourage his dislike of the outside world. The failure definitely stopped the push of communism and spread of it, which I find another thing that pushes Stalin's one country socialism point of view.
Well, I'm in a new place for some reason, and I'm in a new outfit. And whatever, let's talk about the Polish-Soviet War's beginnings. With the Polish-Soviet War, it's a complex issue. With the Treaty of Bent-Lilinsk, probably mispronounced that. If I have an audio clip of that pronunciation, I'll place it here.
Józef Piłsudski.
Was it there? No? Maybe? I don't know. Anyway, with that treaty, kind of dissolved as of the end of World War One, the German Empire, who signed said treaty, kind of lost all that land that they gained from the treaty, meaning people like Vladimir Lenin up there and the Soviet Union, or what will become the Soviet Union, could push westward. Also after World War One, created the country known as Poland, or I think the Second Polish Republic. This republic was under the chief state and pretty tight grip of. Play audio clip here.
Józef Piłsudski.
Thank you, past future me, with the editors. With Joseph, I know that much. Joseph's dreams of spreading the Polish influence to the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth going into Russian territory, the Polish-Soviet War was inevitable, especially with the formation of Poland from people like Woodrow Wilson, don't like him, and others like him who wanted a free and independent Poland. On the other hand, Lenin wanted to push eastward to spread communism and socialism throughout Europe, beyond just Eastern Europe, and wanted to use Poland as a bridge into that. For example, if Poland fell in this war, spoiler alert, they didn't, it could have been very likely, though very speculative here, that communism could have spread in the turbulent time known as the Weimar Republic, or Germany, which was in political turmoil at the time, which could have spread through there. But that's all speculation. With Lenin's desire to spread communism west, and
Józef Piłsudski.
thank you, Joseph's push east, there was an inevitability for this fight, and that will give a nature of change in a political, territorial, and economical changes to fight in this war. This war will be tight, and we'll be talking about that and Stalin and Trotsky's falling out in the next part of this video essay. So, as we've already established, the Polish-Soviet War gets a bit complex. And we only have 10 minutes in this video entirety, so let's speed run the war itself. And then we can talk about Stalin and Trotsky. Speedrun time. So, the Kiev offensive was planned and organized by
Józef Piłsudski.
Thank you, Editor Me. With that, he ordered the push into Kiev to form a Ukrainian puppet state, as they had made a treaty with the Ukrainian government in the previous Polish-Ukrainian War. With that push, it made great gains, starting in 25th of April 1920 and reaching Kiev by May 7th. The problem is it goes horridly wrong, as following this push, the Red Army, thus the Russians, were able to regroup and pushed for a massive counterattack, sweeping through Poland. Editor Me should be able to show you the image of this.
Oh, that's a lot of damage!
That, if it's still there, is massive gains, pushing the Polish army to the brink. Many international observers thought that a Soviet victory was certain. This is wrong. Well, this turns out to be wrong. I should also probably explain why this breakthrough happened. Poland was stretched too thin. That's it. Anyway, with this push, the Polish army were on the brink of collapse. But with
Józef Piłsudski.
leadership, he was able to perform in the Battle of Warsaw, also known as the Miracle of... I'm going to put some text here to say what it looks like. I don't know how to pronounce it. Yeah, I can't pronounce that. Anyway, with that victory, they were able to push the Soviets back to the 1939 border, push it to the 1939 borders, which would not be changed till 1939, when, well, World War II happened. So, this also... We'll be talking more in depth about the lasting effects of this victory, but for now, know that this shut down Lenin's push to spread communism west. But behind
Józef Piłsudski.
back, the parliament, or whatever the Polish government system was called, I can't find it, or I just can't be bothered, was made a peace recognizing the Ukrainian Socialist Republic, Soviet Socialist Republic, as well as Belarusian, basically crushing
Józef Piłsudski.
dreams dead. This is an important moment in both of the careers, as this would put Poland right in the sights of Stalin's gaze, as he saw foreign influence in its creation and existence. Now, we'll be talking about Stalin and Trotsky's involvement in this, as these two are the main people who drive the changes that will be happening because of this war.
Stalin and Trotsky's relationship has always been tense, but by the Polish-Soviet War, it was open hostility. It all began in the Battle of Volgograd, which wasn't its name at the time, but it's easier to say, and it is its modern name. The city's modern name, that is. This relationship was, as I said, tense, with Trotsky pushing for former white officers to join the Red Army as advisors and a part of the army. Stalin detested this decision, as he felt the white army officers could not be trusted and should have been just shot, which is up to debate if they were actually spies, but Stalin was sure as hell convinced. With this conviction, Stalin pushed against Trotsky's orders. Later in the war, he will call for the removal of Trotsky from office, as war commissar of war and the army and the navy, which was denied, and Stalin was recalled to Moscow by Lenin, who sided with Trotsky. So it's impossible to calculate every outcome because of this war. It's just too many variables. But what we can and what we will do in this last paragraph, focusing on the major effects as well as the conclusion, we'll be talking about what happened afterwards directly, as we know for facts, and of course the lasting effects going forward, which will be much more theoretical and assumative. This war created the triumvirate with Stalin and those two names. Thanks, Editomi. These three created a force to be able to push and, well, end Stalin's rise to power. This is also a good point to show how Trotsky and Stalin's ideologies were quite opposite, and Stalin was the less extreme of the two. Trotsky believed in the permanent revolution, for the revolution to never stop. Obviously radical for any time, and particularly in a country and government that wants to stabilize, secure power. Why Stalin wanted socialism in one country, being a stabilization more focusing on itself. Now, as we've stated in this entire video essay, from the nature of this war was kind of inevitable, but accidental in both ways. With
Józef Piłsudski.
I'm gonna put the joke in there one more time. And Lenin's push for Ukraine and the Eastern Europe to the war itself being a pull out of the hat, Stalin and Trotsky's relationship being even worse than it already was, and of course the changes that happened because of it. The effects of this war are still being affecting us now, with the Russian-Ukrainian conflict that's happening right now in 2022. But the natures of these changes are immense. As you probably noticed, I've barely worn the same outfit this entire video, and that was on purpose. It's a nature of change. People change, the world changes. But the most significant change, I believe, is, well, all of them. This is kind of a cop-out answer, but with something like the Polish-Soviet War, there's so many things that affected it greatly. From the Polish victory that was not predicted. No one could have predicted that. And thus Joseph Piłsudski rise to power in another element. And Lenin and Trotsky's relationship being broken apart because of it. This war is big. It's an important part of this whole period, but there's no one thing in this period that is most significant, as all significance happens all the time.
So, some footage got corrupted, so I'm going to add this joke here. Teddy Roosevelt and Colonel Sanders look really similar to Trotsky and Stalin. Don't know where else to put this, so I might make this its own video skit thing, but yeah, I just thought I should mention that.